I got confused.
Yeah. That was pretty expensive for milk back then, right?
The store, the Dixie store, has the largest collection of freeze or ice cream related items from the mid 1800s. This place is gigantic and chock full of them. Hello, Lynn. How you doing?
Hi. Yes. Yes. This is where I think some of them were donated, some of them we bought. Yes. Let's see if I can get the light on. House. This is actually the oldest standing house in McKinney. It was built in 1854, so this is a pre-Civil War home. I would consider that to be relatively rare in the South. You don't see a lot of like family homes that are pre-Civil War, so this is one of my favorite houses just because it's so old. The Ferrises moved to Texas from Tennessee in about 1854. He had 9 children that he came down with. He had 3 wives, and then he married his 4th wife when he came down here. A lot of the furniture that you're going to see in these houses isn't actually from the house itself. So this isn't Ferris furniture. It's time period equivalent, but it's not from the family. The only thing really in this room that is original is the mantle. That's awesome.
It's on, so it's been modified from the original construction.
Now
I believe there was wallpaper that we took. The cool thing in here that I really like is actually this is a courting candle from the 18th century. This sounds like something my dad would use, and I like it. It was used, the father of the house, if he had a daughter, he could allocate time for the suitor to come and spend time with his daughter. So
you mean the candle?
yeah, so
that's clever.
you would basically, the height of the candle above like the metal rings would
So
indicate
they
how
must
much
have measured the time between with the
so like an hour would be
down.
so long, yeah. So if he hated, if you love the guy, you push the candle on and be like, hey, I want you to spend a lot of time here. And if you hate the guy,
I had a kerosene lamp. I wish I would have kept it.
But I do not.
Inside must have been so oppressively hot.
I don't think that's how it's done. Off to the next house. The Taylor house.
Is the 2-bit Taylor Inn. This was actually a working inn by the Taylors. So this would have been where the family would have stayed. They had like 7 children. So if you can imagine having 7 kids basically.
You'd be like paying them to walk.
And then, yeah, you'd be sending them out a lot, right? You'd be like, you need to go do stuff, yeah. So, I know y'all were asking about the staircase. That is not original. They actually had a staircase going up to the attic. So there isn't, actually made this cabinet over here. And this was made actually using a process where he would make the cabinet out of a cheaper kind of wood, and then they would paint it over so it looked more expensive. So, yeah. So, but he also made coffins. So this house was not meant to last. This was only meant to probably last 50 years the most. So this is like a box architectural style.
It's pretty neat, huh?
Spooky.
confined to this one room.
Oh, you like the built-ins with the letter?
Okay, so this is.
You're like, wait,
This is
Yeah.
mansion style.
That's original too. These are original like pictures. Roughly. So this home was built
Well, that's fine.
with running water and electricity. The Delaney's were incredibly. We call this the Delaney House. It's really kind of the field house because Dr. Delaney, we have his cottage in another building that we're not going to see today. So that's kind of where you get the background history of the Delaney family. Mrs. Delaney's brother was actually a banker, a really, really wealthy banker in Dallas. And so he built this home for his sister and their children. So I think you still would have been wearing the corset, but you would have had the opportunity in the summer to maybe not wear the corset, so you can kind of see some of the stuff starting to shift from this really rigid over to more what we have today, kind of. Slow. It could have been maybe for the part. Yeah, it's just for me.
Obviously, there's something on the other side that needed to have a light.
Oh, that's on the other side.
Look at it, this is almost a solemn. They're all smiling. It's nice.
All right, heading to the last house, I believe. Blue House, or the Johnson House.
Do any of you all need to be out by a certain time? Because we are running a little bit late. It's about 12:15 right now. So if any of you need to be out at 12, just let me know. With his wife Polly, they lived here. Captain Johnson was known to be, he served in the Confederate Army. He was a Texas legislator for a while, so they were also pretty wealthy. He made some really astute land purchases and sort of allocations and so forth. So he ended up being really, really wealthy. Lived here with his wife. If any of you guys know what the homestead bill is in Texas law, He actually authored that. So he was really well known. He was called rutabaga because when he would get mad, his face would get really red. And he would get yeah, I don't think he was the nicest person. It is original to the home or to the Johnsons. We have set it up to sort of look like a bridal suite because this is where we would do weddings here. We have the brides coming here, and this is their bridal suite. So that's kind of what we use this room for. Yeah, that's why it's all kind of girly.
What used to be the dining room, obviously. That was the kitchen. And then they took out what appears to be the larder. The larder and the pantry and converted it into a bathroom.
Checking out upstairs now.
This is Bobby Younger's room. Bobby Younger was the great nephew of Captain Johnson. He never actually lived in this room, but because of the history of his life and his sacrifice, we wanted to honor this. We want to make this room and honor him. Bobby's room, like I was saying, Bobby was a B-17 gunner. He lived in Collin County his entire life. He went to McKinney-Boyd, which is different than the McKinney-Boyd that's here now. I'm from Allen, so I don't exactly know what the McKinney schools are and how they work, but he did go to high school here. He was going to go to Texas A&M. He did a semester there, and then when he turned 18, he registered to fight for World War II.
Did he fly a P-38?
He flew a B-17.
He was a gunner.
Yeah, he
Very
was.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he.
totally.
So they were over Germany. They were shot down. 6 out of the 9 died on impact. The other 3 were taken as prisoners by the Germans. Bobby died. He got shot down. He was one of the ones that died. He was actually on the tablets of the missing for 70 years, and then there was a expedition or something in Germany, I think with a collaboration with like Germany and America. They ended up finding the wreckage and the bodies, and they were able to.
Wow.
They weren't able to identify all 6 of the remains, but they buried them together. They're now in Arlington National Cemetery.